You know, a couple of the things that really hurt when you locked up, to be young and rich, and you have a fine ass woman at home, and you locked up and you can't get out. Kind of remind me of that song that Akon sang back in the day. I'm locked up, they won't let me out. They won't let me out. Anyways, welcome back to the channel, y'all. This is BrainFLoTv. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up on BrainFLoTv. And without further ado, let's get right into the material. So, Rapper Lil Durk will not be getting out of jail on bail in the murder for hire case. I'm locked up, they won't let me out. Here is all the information you need to know, and I'm taking this straight from Courthouse News. Grammy Award-winning rapper Lil Durk will remain jailed as he awaits trial on charges of orchestrating a failed attempt to kill a rival rapper in 2022. Rondo is that rival rapper. Funny thing is, Rondo at the moment is incarcerated himself in another issue doing his time. That hit that they aimed to kill Rondo in ended up missing Rondo and taking the life of his cousin Pop, who was in the vehicle with him and his sister. And if y'all slow to this news right here, and you might be wondering, why did they go after Rondo? Well, Rondo was in a fight with Lil Durk's homie, and Lil Durk's homie got killed by Rondo's homie, and then now they want Rondo's life. Spin the block for him. So, U.S. District Judge Michael Fitzgerald on Monday denied the request by Durk, otherwise known as Durk Banks, as he is legally named. Durk and his team wanted to post a $4.5 million in bail and be able to await his case calling from home detention. You know, you'll be able to be at home with an ankle monitor and all that stuff, and you could meet with your lawyers as you feel like it. You know what I mean? Spread your gal wide open, do all kinds of things with her, be happy. In the meantime, be around his children while you fight this case. But the judge said, nah. They even offered to have 24/7 private security. Private security that would not be Lil Durk's security. They would work for the state. Put me on the private security. They said, nah. So the judge agreed with the prosecution that no combination of conditions would be reasonably good to assure them that the Chicago rapper Lil Durk would show up for future court dates, or reasonably assure the safety of any other persons and the community. In other words, they think that he will run. I don't know, get on a boat, end up in Haiti, end up in Jamaica, something like that, St. Lucia, Barbados, hiding out. Or they also feel like he has enough power and pull in these streets and enough resources to quiet people who are involved in this case, or make witnesses disappear, or ultimately influence the outcome of this trial. The sentence is mandatory life in prison without parole, which would make any innocent defendant consider running away as the rational alternative. This is what the judge said. The judge said, what Durk is looking at right now, the sentence, if he is found guilty, is a mandatory life sentence. It's mandatory life in prison without parole. And this type of sentence would make any person who is innocent consider running away, flight, as a rational alternative. That's what he said, referring to the sentence that Durk could face if he is convicted at trial on the charges that were brought against him by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Los Angeles. The judge then further agreed with the government that Durk was likely trying to flee the country when he was arrested last year near the Miami International Airport after law enforcement learned that he had been booked on multiple international flights. There was a flight that was booked at Fort Lauderdale Airport, and then there was a flight that was booked at Miami International Airport, and it said that Durk was moving in between the two airports trying to figure out which one of the flights to go on, while the feds they were hot on his trail, so they were setting up a decoy flight. That way, if they ran after one, he would be on the other one. And then ultimately, he decided he wasn't going to go on any of those flights. He was going to charter a private jet and have the private jet take him up out of there. And it was while he was on his way to the private jet that he was caught inside of the airport. So with two flights leaving that he booked, that he did not get on, yet he was on his way to the private jet. So that right there is not helping his case for bail right now, because the judge is saying, yeah, you were trying to run for sure. At the time, Durk's management team and Durk said he wasn't trying to run. He is an international artist that does shows and appearances and all that, and he travels this way a lot of the times. You book a flight and you book a backup flight just in case your flight doesn't work. Well, they're not buying that. So Durk's lawyers argued he was merely traveling to Dubai, as he had done many times before, for both professional and for spiritual reasons. He is Muslim. He has performed at concerts and he has recorded there as well. They said that in a court last week. And as a devout Muslim, traveling to the Middle East is also deeply important to Durk's faith. Again, they're not buying that shit in the courtroom. So the court accepts that the defendant has business and spiritual reasons to travel to the Middle East, is what the judge said. The judge says there is no evidence that he intended to do so that day for any other reason apart from the murder and resulting arrest of his co-defendants. Y'all didn't have any concerts set up. You didn't have any bookings booked that you could show us, hey, look, they already paid us a deposit. He was supposed to perform at XYZ venue on XYZ date. His legal team has nothing to back up why he was trying to leave, why he booked two flights and then tried to get on a private jet. They had nothing to support any of it. And the judge brought that up in court. We get it. We get that he's a Muslim. We get that it's important to go to the Middle East for him. We get that XYZ, Dubai, he been there before. He done recorded music videos there. He has performed there. He does business there. It's a spiritual hiatus for him as well. However, around that time when he tried to leave, wasn't nothing popping except his homies, co-defendants, being dragged in and the feds looking for him next. Neither was the judge persuaded that the appearance bond Banks or Durk agreed to post would be sufficient, given that he's a very wealthy man, and the amount of money that was offered was only a fraction of his net worth, is what the judge said. Wow. The judge said he not putting up enough money. You got way more money than this. You putting up 4.5. In other words, I think the judge is trying to say you trying to leverage your money. So you're going to spend 4.5 million to get out, and then you're probably going to use another 4.5 million to disappear because you can afford it. Now, what they would like to see was for him to put up everything he owns and then say, Your Honor, I'm putting up everything I own. I have no intentions of running. I no longer have even the means to run because you would be in possession of all my wealth. That's not the case. So the judge says, not even the amount that you're putting up is impressive. You know, you're a wealthy man. That amount you putting up, that's a small fraction of your wealth. Moreover, defendant would still have his intellectual property with which to earn a handsome living while he is abroad, the judge also said. Meaning, all his videos and his music and all that other stuff, if he ran away from the U.S., he can go to a place where there is no extradition order with the U.S., no extradition dealings with the U.S., so the U.S. would not be able to get him back to stand charges, and he could still be rich in these places because he can still make music and sell music to the rest of the world and tour in other places except for anything that has to do with the U.S. So the judge went again and said any set of conditions would need to impoverish the defendant and lead to the forfeiture of all interests in his intellectual property. Golly. So they're trying to strip Durk down. Literally. Put up all your wealth and resources. They want to see that banking, that savings and checking account at $0.00. Or maybe not. They maybe just want to see enough money left in there to pay the bills. Right? That's it. They don't want to see all that excess in your account. And they would want him to sign over legal rights to his music just in case he runs his intellectual property. The judge clearly said any condition that he was to agree to, it would need to impoverish Durk and lead to the forfeiture of all interest in his intellectual property. Damn. Now, in addition, the judge also cited the danger to any government witnesses who might testify against Durk at trial if he was allowed to stay at home. There, he said, where it would be easier for him to use his money, use his power, use his influence to plot against those who he perceived to be a threat. Dangerous. So while we are disappointed in the court's ruling, we remain confident that the truth will come to light when this case is tried in front of the jury, his attorney said. Durk is innocent of all these charges and allegations, and he will be fully exonerated. Durk was arrested last October 2024 in Florida on charges that he orchestrated the attempted assassination in 2022 revenge killing of rapper Rondo at a LA gas station, a shooting that resulted in the death of Rondo's cousin. He is charged with conspiracy to commit murder for hire in the slaying of Sevilla's Robinson, 24 years old, or Pob, as Rondo called his cousin, who was gunned down August 19th of 2022. 5 members of Durk's Chicago-based rap collective, Only the Family, or OTF, have been also charged. The feds are saying that OTF is a gang. They are not a record label. They are not business people who do music and entertainment only. Durk kind of runs OTF in a way where he hires and keeps real shooters around him. And he promises these real shooters features. I'll do a song with you. I'll sign you to a record deal. I'll take you on tour with me. You get to fly out, see the world, make some money, but you got to be ready to pull a trigger, etc. So you'll be an artist on my label, but you'll also be a shooter by my side. And don't forget that you always got to be a shooter. This is how he ran OTF, otherwise known as Only the Family. Now, this is accusations from the feds, right? I'm just bringing it to you. So, Robinson's mother flew to LA from Savannah, Georgia to address the courts at last week's hearing. She said, "I'm scared to be here." Robinson is Savea Robinson's mother. "I'm scared to be here." This is the young man who got killed, right? Quando Rondo's cousin's mother. "I'm scared to be here," she said. "I just want you to know that Savea had a family too, man. Y'all ain't had to kill my baby like that." Durk, in April, asked for the superseding indictment against him to be dismissed because he claimed that the government had falsely told the jury that he had celebrated the killing in a rap song that was recorded and put on YouTube after the shooting of Quando Rondo's cousin. When it turns out, the lyrics in question, Durk argued that those were recorded 7 months before that shooting incident of that young man took place. So there's no way I could have put that in a song celebrating his demise. The government filed a second superseding indictment shortly after that one that left out the disputed rap lyrics and mooted Banks' bid to get the charges dismissed. They threw his bid out the window to get those charges dismissed. Now, nevertheless, his attorneys argued that they should have access to the grand jury testimony of the witnesses, presumably an FBI agent who provided the incorrect information. With all that's going on, you also have people who are a part of OTF or were Lil Durk's co-defendants, homies, might be working with the feds. And they might be pointing a finger saying, he's the one that told us to do it. And that's why we did it. Now, if everybody remains solid and stay 10 toes down and don't say nothing, they might get hit with the charges and Durk might be able to beat the case. But as far as it's looking, he might also end up in prison for the rest of his life. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one and I'll catch you on the next video. It's BrainFLoTv. Hit that subscribe button. Click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up on BrainFLoTv. I'm out. Peace.